Conduct in the City Council chambers. Rules of decorum for the public. Members of the audience shall not engage in disorderly or boisterous conduct, including the utterance of loud, threatening, or abusive language, clapping, whistling, stamping of feet, or other acts which disturb, disrupt, impede, or otherwise render the orderly conduct of the city meeting infeasible. A member of the audience engaging in any such conduct shall, at the discretion of the presiding officer or a majority of the city council, be subject to ejection from the meeting per Government Code Section 54954.3C. Removal from the council chambers. Any person who commits the following acts in respect to a meeting of the city shall be removed from the council chambers per Government Code Section 54954.3C. A, disorderly, contemptuous, or insolent behavior towards the city council or any member thereof, tending to interrupt the due and orderly course of said meeting. A breach of peace, boisterous conduct, or violent disturbance tending to interrupt the due and orderly course of said meeting. Disobedience of any lawful order from the mayor, which shall include an order to be seated or to refrain from addressing the city council, and any other unlawful interference with the due and orderly course of said meeting. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Taft City Council Successor Agency Joint Regularly Scheduled Meeting for Tuesday, July 19th, 2022. The City of Taft Council meetings are being held in person with full capacity seating and are live streamed at www.youtube.com/user/City of Taft. Public comment can be made in person and also can be received for the following. Written comments may be dropped off in the drop box in front of City Hall. Comments may be emailed to the city clerk at ymayfield@cityoftaft.org, made by phone to the city clerk's office at 661-763-1222. Public comments will be accepted up until 5 p.m. the day of the meeting, and all public comments will be read into the record. We're going to begin this evening's meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance led by Councilman Jeff Eveland, followed by an invocation from our police chief, Damon McMinn. If you'll join us, please.
Please rise. Salute. Pledge.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
I ask you to bow your heads, please. Dear Heavenly Father, we give all the praise and glory to you, Lord. Lord, we ask that you enter this building today and reach out to our councilmen and all our city staff and help us guide this city through these tumultuous times. Lord, we ask that your will be done as you guide us through these tough times, Lord. Lord, I also have a little prayer for our city attorney's family as he is battling something right now that needs to be taken care of. And with your will and your guidance, we will get through it. Lord, we give all the praise and glory to you, and we do this in your Son's name, in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you very much, sir. Madam Clerk, may we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Knorr,
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Cryer,
Here.
Councilmember Bryant,
Here.
Councilmember Eveland,
Here.
and Councilmember Whiting.
Here.
All right. Let's begin this evening's meeting. Item number one, an informational presentation by Doug McAllister, Vice President, External Affairs for Frontier Communications. Sir, if you'll come up and address the council.
Mr. Mayor, City Council, I really want to thank you for providing me the time to kind of introduce myself, my role and how it relates to you and your roles here for the city, and kind of update you a bit on what Frontier's been up to. Eventually we're going to have a presentation here on the screen. If not, I'll pull my computer out. There we go. Thank you. Ask you shall receive.
Okay, there you go.
One of the things I'm going to do, I'm going to shorten this up a bit. I'm looking at your schedule. I spent a lot of years on your side of the dais, and I know the presentations sometimes they get in the way of the city's business. But so let me shorten this up a bit, walk through this a bit, and then if you have any questions, leave more time for questions when it comes to that. So once again, I'm with the Frontier. I'm the Vice President of External Affairs for Frontier. This is a rather new role. Let me just start with that at first. My role primarily is to interact with you, as well as your city manager. I work with the senior leaders of the cities and the counties in California, and the whole purpose for this is to make sure that you have the information you need. When I was in office, one of the things I hated the most is walking into church or walking into a grocery store or walking into some public place and getting lambasted while I was there about something, and I had to say to them, I have no idea what you're talking about. That just bothered the heck out of me. And so my whole goal for this is that when it comes to Frontier, you never have to say that. So my role here is to provide the information for you through your city manager or directly to you. You will have my cell number. The purpose for that is that for those times you do get lambasted or somebody, a constituent that you have in your city asks you a question and you don't know the answer to it, you call me. Or you have our city manager call me, and I'll see to it that information is getting back to you. So I'm your point of contact for what we're doing here right now. Right now, Frontier is bringing fiber optic to Taft. In fact, we're in the process right now. We'll talk about that in a little bit. Can we go to the next slide, please? This is not Frontier's quote. This is mine. As I said, this is a rather new position. When they recruited me to come back, I was with Verizon many years ago as the Director of Government and External Affairs. They recruited me to come back, and my role was, and my agreement was, as long as they understood, they paid me, but I worked for you. And when it comes down to this is what they're trying to do is recast the way utilities work with your local jurisdictions and try to improve on that. Frontier is in the largest build in history when it comes to fiber optic all over the country. And they realize that if they're going to do something bigger than they've ever done, then they're going to have to do it better than they've ever done. And so we're trying to be very proactive and collaborative and working with your team to see to it that rather than come in and tell you what we're going to do and you better figure it out, we want to come in and ask you how best to do it so that we can get what we need done, but at the same time not overwhelm staff with the process. So this is part of the hopefully doing this better than ever before. Next slide, please. I only want to hit 2 or 3 of these. The first one is what we're bringing here is a 100% fiber optic network. And when we say that, we mean 100%. And I'll show you kind of a brief picture later on. But mainly from our wire center to the side of your house, it's all fiber. And what that allows us to do is avoid having copper in the ground that gets wet, it stops working. And it allows us to avoid the outages that you may experience because copper is a 140-year-old technology, and we're moving to the 21st century with this. Households, as a result, are going to be able to connect with multiple devices. I read a study about 2 or 3 weeks ago, maybe a little longer, that said the average house has 22 devices hooked to their internet, which I thought and I started counting in my house. I have 3 computers on my desk. My wife has her computer. And then we have the TVs that are all streaming. And before I was done, I had 15 devices in my house. And it's just me and my wife, just the 2 of us. So what happens many times on the copper and DSL is that the more folks that get on that, the slower it goes. That will not be the case. There will be no bottlenecks with this technology that we're bringing to you. It will be it's fantastic speeds. The fourth one down there talks about up to 2 gigs. When I was in office, we brought Fios to Murrieta. Fios was a big deal because it was like up to 200 gigs or whatever that was at that point. And I thought, wow, that's fast. And they compared that to DSL was like a garden hose in capacity, where what Fios was a 10-foot culvert. I have no idea how big a culvert the 2 gig would be, but it's a lot of capacity and it's symmetrical. We have 500, 1 gig, and then 2 gigs, and it's up and down. You're not going to have the pixelization. You're not going to have the outs that you would have because they'd say, yeah, the download is 200 meg, but your upload's 2. That's not going to be the case at this point. So that's what we're bringing here. And I want to skip through the rest of this and go to the next slide. This represents the build. It's both within your city boundaries as well as out in the county. The engineers are really, really good at explaining this. But basically what we have here is roughly the red area is your city boundary. You can see all the other things are feeder lines, They are different areas, and they don't go into the specific houses there. It'd be too detailed to show it. But that is where we're going at this point. And I believe we've already started this process to begin bringing the fiber to your city. And once again, we have any questions, we can go back to this slide. Next slide. Once again, I told you that we would talk about this. The way this fiber works is that at our central office, you'll see the building there usually has no windows. It's this big wall there. There's a lot of things for security that we have to have by law. And so the buildings tend to be yick. But within those buildings is everything. It's all the technology. And from that building is the fiber will come out, and you'll see hubs. And we'll show you some pictures of those briefly here in a minute. And those hubs will be usually placed outside neighborhoods. We don't want them in the neighborhoods because we don't like them the way they look. No one does. And so we want to put them where they're inconspicuous and outside the neighborhoods. And then from that hub, move on to number 3, brings it into the neighborhoods. These little terminals, anywhere from 4 to 8 customers per terminal. As we put them in, and we put those things in the ground, and so they're flush. And when someone decides they want to take the service, then we have what's called a drop, and that's when we take it from that terminal, number 3, to their house, and on the wall there. So I'm just going to show you a couple pictures. Next slide. There's the distribution hub on the left. This one was done in the Coachella Valley, and so it was just dirt and sand. And so, but what we try to do when you see that, I don't like these pictures because it looks like ugly as far as I'm concerned. We want to leave the location where these things are placed better than we found them. So we take pictures before, take pictures after, stuff like that. We also work with your team to see to it that where we're placing them works. There are some places, because the engineers are sitting in a cubicle somewhere and they're designing this thing. We got to know from your side of things, which is the collaborative side, will that really work there? And many, many times we find out, no, that won't work because somebody can see it from their side window or whatever else. And so we work with the team to figure out where to place these. And so all these are examples of this in ground, the 2 left-hand pictures, and the 2 right-hand pictures aerial, when we bring overlash onto existing copper. Next slide. Gets to the side of the house, that's called the ONT, that's the box where everything translates from fiber to whatever is in the house and gets into your router. And that distance is so short, it will not slow down anything at that point. Next slide. Here's what collaboration looks like, and there's 3 things here. And I'm not just saying this because Craig's sitting here. The expedite thing is the collaboration that we've seen from your team, and how it's been for the record books as far as I'm concerned. Now obviously when we do something wrong, we want to hear about it, and if you see that, I need to hear about it so I can fix it. But your team has just been great on the expediting of the permits to make this work in such a way that it doesn't overwhelm them, and that's my main concern. Many times utilities are going to come in and tell you what we want and then want you to do it. And regardless of what it does to overwhelm your team and all those kinds of things. So we're very sensitive to that now to make sure we get feedback from your team to say, well, that's too fast. And then we work with if there's ways to speed it up, if we need to spend money and hire some folks to help speed it up, we'll do it. But we want to have that collaboration. So I want to thank you and your team for the expedite so far. Educate, part of that's right now, what I'm doing here. But also any opportunity we have, tomorrow morning I'm at your Chamber of Commerce to have this same presentation, and so we thank you for those opportunities to educate. And then escalate. This is where my role with you and with Craig is very important. If something comes to your attention, if it raises to the level of you, I need to hear about it. Like I said, when I was in office and I was the last to hear about something, it was awkward. Didn't like that very much. And so I always work with my staff to make sure that I would learn about things so that I could answer questions, because citizens they deserve answers when it comes to that. So if something raises to that level, either call me directly or have your city manager do that. And I'll light on that as fast as possible. Next slide. We try to communicate as much as possible. We don't want folks walking out of their front door on their way to work and have all this construction going on the right of way in front of their house, and what the heck is going on? And that's when you get the calls. Why are they doing this stuff in my yard? It's the right of way and such. And so we between 24 to 72 hours, usually 72 hours, we will put out on the left-hand side there are some door hangers that we'll put out that have the name, the phone number, or email people to call if there's any questions. And then we also put yard signs out and whatever else Craig tells us to do to communicate with your folks, we will do. Now, Here's what happens in reality. If they're like me, I open my front door, rarely. I go out through the garage. But when I open my front door and I have 3 or 4 of these door hangers from the tree trimmer guy and Frontier and everything else, take them all and I throw them away. I don't even look at them. And so we can try to notify your folks, but they may not think we have. And so we always try to tell the vendors to take pictures and all this kind of stuff, but I don't care. If someone calls you and has a question, put them on to me. And let me take care of that for you. Next slide. This is the offerings we're having. It's very, very affordable. We have divorced ourselves from content. In other words, the packages don't include HBO and all those different 3,000 channels of which you watch 6. If folks want to stream that, they can do it. There's plenty of speed and capacity on this. So what we're looking at is for 500 up and down, it's $50, and for a full gig up and down, it's 75. And if someone wants 2 gigs, which I guess someone could use 2 gigs. I don't know what you do with it. But if someone wants to do that, they can do it for $150. So that's the affordability aspect of it. Next slide. Good, I got through it. So that's the short version of the presentation. I'm open for any questions you might have, if any.
I do.
Okay, gentlemen, I'll let Josh start.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. We appreciate you coming out. I know me personally, and I'm sure a lot of folks around here are happy to see that there'll be a competitive market in their future. It seems it's only residential at this time. You guys getting into commercial as well?
We are, it's called fiber to the home, so primarily it's residential. We are the ILEC. We're the incumbent phone company, have been since Verizon and Pac-Bell and 3,000 years ago. So we're going any place that there's a phone. However, between that wire center and that house, there's lots of businesses. We're also able to handle that, but we handle those on a business-by-business case. Right now, we're going right to their neighborhoods, and then when folks decide they want to hook up to it, they let us know, and then we drop it into their home.
Very nice. And I did see a little bit of a timeline when you had your map. I couldn't really read it real well.
Okay, can we get back to that map?
Not that I'm in a hurry, I guess. I was just kind of curious if people do ask what the timeline was.
Yeah, we've already started, we're looking to complete the first route in June and July, so we should be wrapping that up pretty soon. The Route 4, how many? Just lots of locations there. That we hope to have done by September. It's about 5,600 addresses that are going to be covered within this bill. That's within your city. Then there's outside the county as well.
Sure. So sometime, probably by the end of the calendar year, you guys will be ready to take on new customers.
Oh, yeah. And once again, kudos to your staff. They've been very, very, very collaborative. And Craig, I'll say, my team screws up, I still want to know about it, so we don't put that on your shoulders.
Thank you.
All right, very good. Councilman Evelyn, any questions?
My only question was the timeline, and you already addressed it, so.
All right.
Very
Okay,
much.
great. Councilman Whiting, communications guy, you got to have a question.
Dude, the green area, what's that denote? The green lines?
Those green lines, I believe those are the feeder routes off of which the other routes come off of. So these will, I believe, I'm not the engineer, I can find out for sure and get back to you, but the feeder routes come out of the wire center, and off of those feeder routes they come to like the outside neighborhoods generally, and then from that, it goes into the neighborhoods, and that's where you would see, on the outside would be those hubs, and on the inside of the neighborhood are going to be the terminals.
Well, I asked because I have a house on one of the green lines there.
Then you're in good shape.
Closer to the source,
Those-
right?
Want to get an aerial?
Would those be aerial? Well, you would know. Okay, thank you. The aerial, I typically will have percentages on all these maps my engineers give to me, but the aerial obviously is the easiest. We just overlash on what's existing. We try to avoid digging anything, but sometimes we have to. So maybe that's what that is. But anyway, it's going right by your house, so you're good.
That's all I had. Thank you, Mr. Mayor.
Okay, very good. Mayor Pro Tem Cryer, any
Thank you, Mayor.
questions?
Thank you, Mayor. Maybe the city mayors might know, but do we have Spectrum have the franchise here in Taft? Do they have to have a separate deal? I thought we vote on franchise.
So they have had a franchise agreement, just not an exclusive agreement?
They went to state franchises some time ago, and so the local franchises, once they run out, would move into state franchise. And so, but we are what's called the ILEC, which is the phone company side of things. And so we we're the incumbent for that. But when it comes to the other, pardon? You have the facility right away. Right. When it comes to the franchise agreements, and I'm kind of harkening back to when I was sitting in your seat when we were negotiating these, and those typically were for the video side of things, which we're not offering anyway. So regardless, I think we fall under the state franchise regardless.
The reason I was asking was because I have Spectrum here in our town here, and I have the Wi-Fi, the cable thing, all the
Yep.
bells and whistles that they provide and stuff. I was wondering that you're just providing just the phone and the Wi-Fi or the.
Right, it's, the phone is VoIP, it's voice over internet protocol, because it's over that cable, over our fiber. So it's all internet-based, offerings. I think that's $5 a month, I think. What we did was divorce ourselves from providing the content, like I said, all those channels for movies and TVs and everything else. And the reason for that is, many times what happens is you sign up with a provider, and that first year is great. It's a great price, yay, and everything else. And that second year, it goes way up. And what happens is it's very, very expensive to negotiate with those providers to bring that content onto their backbone. And so they want to get you in, and I get it, it's a good business plan, but then they want you to like it so much, they'll stay, even though they double the price sometimes. And so by divorcing ourselves from that whole discussion, then it's just internet, and that is a very constant price. The prices may go up 5 or 10% over time, but it's not going to jumping up after this initial offering here. And I know I don't have cable. I stream everything now, and I find that to be very convenient for the little amount of time I get to watch TV.
That's good. Now, when would the service start? Immediately or
As soon as we pass
shortly?
by and we basically what they call open for sale, which is very quick. Say when it's in your neighborhood and we've gone by and everything's fixed and we're open for sale. You can usually go online to frontier.com and put in your address, and it'll tell you whether it's available or not for you. And they make the order and they'll come out very quickly. And they do what's called the drop, which comes from that terminal and moves, I think it's always underground, to the side of your house. And this should be, except for when they flip it over to the new, you should have no interruption in service.
And we have an office here in town, or is it all on the internet?
We have our wire center, and such, but yeah, typically it's on phone, internet, except for you guys, that you guys call me.
That's all I have.
And typically if you have a constituent that's having trouble with the phone, internet, and they get hold of you, I call that elevated to your level, you still call me, I'll take care of that constituent.
All right, very good. I understand you have the opportunity to be a part of the sit and sip tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
Is that correct?
That's what I'm doing tomorrow.
Oh, that's
I'm
great.
not sure what we're sipping, but I'll be there.
You know what? It's a great opportunity. I will tell you what, I've been a part of the sit and sip many, many times, and it's a great opportunity to network with a great many people. And then they go out in the world armed with the facts. Facts are a wonderful thing, and they'll help get your message across. So I'm glad to hear that you're going to have that opportunity. It's Dr. Warren right behind you. She's the key to all of that. That lady. That's right. So anyway, thank you very much for coming before us and giving the presentation.
Well, thank you for your time. I sincerely appreciate that. And if you have any further questions, you know how to find me. Oh, we have one more.
Oh, I think we have another question.
Rudy, if you have a couple of business cards, could you leave them with the clerk for us? Thank you very much.
Those are all the wrong ones. You have my business card, my cell, okay, if you can pass that out, make sure they have my cell number. I brought the wrong business card. I'm a
We'll
professional.
put it on the City of Taft website. Any complaints, call us 24 hours a day.
I might have to change that number. if that's the case.
We'll just add them to the.
I'm in every
concern.
city in California right now, so please don't do that to me.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you very much, Doug. We appreciate you coming before the city, and
Thank you.
look forward to the opportunity that you give the people. All right, thanks, Keanan. All right, next up, public hearing, adopt resolutions authorizing Kern County Tax Collector to collect refuse and street sweeping charges and standby charges for a vacant commercial building. City Manager John?
Section 5473 of the Health and Safety Code authorizes the collection of refuse
turn it on. There you go.
Refuse fees by the county tax collector upon adoption of the appropriate resolution by the city council. Prior to considering such a resolution, it is appropriate for council to conduct a public hearing and receive evidence and testimony for or against the proposed action from members of the public. Following completion of the hearing, council will consider the adoption of the proposed resolutions.
Thank you very much, City Manager Jones. Therefore, I am going to open said hearing, and anybody wishing to speak in support of or opposition of this, please step forward. Seeing none, have we had anybody communicate through your office,
No, we have
Madam
not.
Clerk? All right, thank you very much. That being the case, I'm going to close that public hearing. At this time, I would entertain a motion to adopt a resolution entitled, "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft Providing for Collection of Refuse and Street Sweeping Charges by the County Tax Collector pursuant to Section 5473 et sec of the Health and Safety Code." I will also entertain a motion to adopt a resolution entitled, "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft Providing for Collection of Standby Refuse and Street Sweeping Charges by the County Tax Collector pursuant to Section 5473 et sec of the Health and Safety Code."
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. For the record, gentlemen, that's for both motions?
Yes, sir.
Correct.
Thank you very much. Any additional discussion regarding this?
None here.
All right, hearing none, I have a motion and a second. May we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Crier,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant,
Yes.
Councilmember Evelyn,
Yes.
Councilmember Whiting,
Yes.
and Mayor Moore.
Yes, and that passes on a 5-0 vote. Thank you very much. Next up, item number 3, public hearing, adopt resolutions authorizing current county tax collector to collect sewer charges and standby sewer charges for vacant commercial buildings. City Manager Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. Section 5473 et sec of the Health and Safety Code authorizes the collection of sewer fees by the county tax collector upon adoption of an appropriate resolution by the Taft City Council.
All right, I thank you, sir. Recommendation is to conduct a public hearing. Therefore, I will open said public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak in support of or in opposition to this matter, please step forward. Seeing none, Madam Clerk, did anybody reach out to you through the clerk's office?
No, sir.
All right, thank you very much. Therefore, I'm going to close that meeting. At this time, I would entertain a motion to adopt a resolution entitled, "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft Providing for Collection of Sewer Charges by the County Tax Collector pursuant to Section 5473 et sec of the Health and Safety Code." I will also entertain a second motion to adopt a resolution entitled, "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft Providing for Collection of Standby Sewer Charges by the County Tax Collector pursuant to Section 5473 et sec of the Health and Safety Code."
So moved.
Second.
Have a motion
And a second.
and a second? Okay, I have a motion and a second. Gentlemen, any further discussion on this matter?
No, sir.
All right. Madam Clerk, I have a motion and a second. May we have roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Crier,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant,
Yes.
Councilmember Evelyn.
Yes.
Councilmember Whiting.
Yes.
And Mayor Moore.
Yes, and that passes on a 5-0 vote. Thank you very much, gentlemen. Next up, item number 4, public hearing, Landscape Maintenance District Number 1. City Manager Jones.
Thank you, Mayor. The engineer's report for the Landscape Maintenance District Number 1 was received at the City Council meeting on June 21st, 2022. The Landscape Maintenance District Number 1 consists of Track 5574 Phase 1, Track 5956 Phases 1 through 3, Track 6114, Track 6501, and Track 7227 Phase 1 and 2. Parcel assessment will remain as the same level as last year, $86. The funds from the district will be collected by the Kern County Assessor's Office and dispersed to the city under a special assessment. These assessments, when collected, will go to the respective funds to pay for maintenance and operation of the landscape and lighting district. It is recommended that the city council adopt the resolution setting the assessments for maintenance district number 1 for fiscal year 22-23.
Thank you very much, City Manager Jones. The recommendation is to conduct a public hearing. Therefore, I will open said public hearing. Anybody wishing to speak on behalf of or opposition to this matter, step forward. Being nobody. Madam Clerk, anybody contact you?
No,
No? All right, I'm going to close the public hearing. At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve a resolution entitled, "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft Setting the Assessment for Landscape Maintenance District Number 1."
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. Gentlemen, any discussion regarding this?
Just one quick item, Mr. Mayor, if you will.
Yes, please.
So, Mr. Jones, would you confirm that the approximate cost per parcel is about $166 actual cost? And we went out for Prop 218 2 years ago or a year and a half ago? Okay, and that failed, so, twice now. Somebody who lives there, and obviously somebody who sits here gets to make this decision, I am conflicted. I struggle with the fact that we would not be willing to pay another $80 per year, a whopping $80 per year on already rising property taxes, which I understand is rough, to continue to not allow the general fund to subsidize this. So while we need to do it, I understand it. I am a little disappointed that we can't get behind ourselves in our own neighborhoods to pay for the things and services we get. So that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Any other comments regarding this, gentlemen?
None.
Well, I do have a comment. This was brought forth to City Council because the intent of Landscape and Lighting District Number 1 was never for it to be subsidized by the general fund. It was meant to be funded through the Landscape and Lighting District. This has not changed in quite some time. Also, we have brought it to the attention of everybody in that Landscape and Lighting District that it is running at a deficit. Things are getting tighter and tighter in this world, folks. On top of that, water is getting more expensive. It's costing more money to keep up these things. There's going to be a point in time when you're going to have to convert from internal combustion engine powered lawnmowers, et cetera, to battery powered and electric. And that's going to get very expensive, and it's going to place time constraints on our ability to do these things. Therefore, I want a matter brought before this council outlining what we know to be the difference between the funding level and the cost associated with that. And I want suggestions on what we are going to have to cut back until such a time as the cost of maintaining that meets the income level. I want that brought before the council. I would ask for concurrence from a council member who is not conflicted.
I'll concur with you, Mayor.
And I'll concur also.
As will I, sir.
Thank you very much. It would appear we have concurrence. All right. Thank you, gentlemen. So we have a motion and a second. We've had discussion. May we have roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Crier,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant,
Yes.
Councilmember Evelyn,
Yes.
Councilmember Whiting,
Yes.
and Mayor Noor.
Yes, and that passed on a 5-0 vote. Thank you very much, gentlemen.
Thank you.
All right, next up, item number 5, citizen request public comments. Comments are to be received as stated in the above policy. This is the time and place for the general public to address the city council on matters within its jurisdiction. State law prohibits the council from addressing any issue not previously included on the agenda. Council may receive comment and set the matter for a subsequent meeting. Please limit your comments to 5 minutes. This evening, we have a couple of people who are going to address the council. We're always happy to see real faces, uncovered, smiling, human faces. So, first up, Ronnie Waldrop.
Thank you, Mayor Noor, council members. I'm mainly here to brag on a great day that the whole community came together. And there's a few people I'd like to thank that I actually sent this to the paper, but I don't know if it's going to get in there of each and every individual. The first one I got on my list is Lewis Layton. He's the 10 West Towing, that big old truck that had the flag up. And I'd like to thank the Miller Insurance. They didn't know it, but they had their flag up, and that helped too. Brag on him. Westside Waste, they brought down some containers, which was real nice of them. All the workers, golly, I had over 30 workers. And all the people that brought their cars in from all over Kern County. And especially I want to thank the city of Taft for the great job that they did getting it ready, especially this one alley that they did a beautiful job on cleaning it up. It was real clean at one time. It's not now, but anyway, they did a beautiful job. They got the lot all great and all the way around. And they just were real good supporters, and I'm glad to be a part of the city of Taft. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir. And just for the record and the audience, that was in celebration of your 50th year in business. Is that correct, sir?
I might have a couple more, but
Anybody who's stayed in business in the state of California for 50 years, sir, has accomplished something.
I do have to say one fun thing, if I'm allowed to, I don't know.
You are.
Floyd Adams?
Oh, he's a fun thing.
Yeah.
All
He
by
was
himself.
running
Floyd
that
is.
dunk tank, right? Well, somewhere or another, he got into a wet T-shirt contest with a girl,
no.
Oh, my.
and he won.
Oh, my.
Won.
Okay, News at 11, followed by a film clip. That would be Floyd, all right, okay.
Let's say I could see.
Well, thank you very much, Ron. Thanks for serving the people of the city of Taft for the last 50 years. Appreciate it. All right, next up, Dr. Warren, Kathy Warren from the Chamber of Commerce. Still laughing about the wet T-shirt contest, but go ahead.
I know. I think if we get more reports like that, we're going to have standing room only in these council meetings.
Only if he brings Floyd with him.
Yeah.
Floyd, yeah.
There you go. Well, it's a pleasure to be able to stand before you. I haven't been here since the 4th of July, and I want to thank you for your support of the 4th. We had a great time, actually, on the 2nd of July. It was probably the biggest turnout we have ever had. And we had people wanting to be vendors up until moments before we were ready to open up the rails to trails. It was absolutely incredible. We had new people that had never been to Taft that were like, wow, you guys know how to put on a show. And we just let them believe that all of our events are like that. So it was a wonderful time for everybody, and of course, the fireworks were beautiful. We had such good support from the community in many ways, but, you know, the city always steps up, and we appreciate that so much. I want to remind you that in August, the rest of July and in August, we are resting at the Chamber. But September, we have a car show on the books. And I will tell you right now, since we have just seen our 4th car show for a few months here, we don't know if we're going to have a car show. We're hearing about a lot of car shows that are coming out of Bakersfield in September, so that may not be happening on the Rails to Trails. We have a golf tournament scheduled for October, and I'm keeping a close eye on our golf course because the drought has not been good to us. Our golf course folks are doing the best they can, and they're doing magic with what they have to work with. But this is a tough time to take care of a golf course. So we'll be getting back to you on that. We have a follow-up sitting in the wings Galloween that is being kind of scheduled in case we aren't able to open up the stops for a golf tournament. And then, of course, our fishing derby is slated for November and our parade in December. So we are very much still active, even in this miserable, muggy heat. We're not used to this muggy stuff. We like pure heat. We can deal with that. So that's all I have for you, but I do want to invite people. I don't know when this goes on. When are people able to see this? Tonight?
Yes.
Well, come on down to the Chamber, 400 Kern Street, and we will be hosting Mr. Doug McAllister, who you just talked with. He'll be talking to us up close and personal about what happens when Frontier comes to town. And most of us are very excited to see competition. That's a good thing. So for those of us that have had every device we had go down for parts of 2 weeks, we're very excited to see them. So I welcome you. Come and have a cup of coffee and a donut and get smarter. We start at 9 o'clock. We're finished by 10, and we'd love to have you there. That's tomorrow, Wednesday. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Warren, as always. I was not here for the 4th of July, and God knows I love the 4th of July. And if we don't have the ultimate 4th of July venue, which is Rails to Trails, it doesn't exist anywhere. I will tell you that I heard raving reports, Dr. Warren, of the people that were there and that got to watch it and enjoy it, and all the vendors, and I did. I missed it. I was somewhere else where it was very dry and quite a bit hotter, I will tell you. But they had rockets over the river where I was, and so I was watching those rockets, but I was thinking of the city of Taft because just can't beat it. We do. It's a wonderful thing.
I just want to say one thing. This is the first time in 11 years that I have ever had to call the police and ask them to shut this down. Nobody wanted to go home. It was a beautiful evening because it was that little week that we had normal weather. Well, it wasn't normal for us, but
Good
It
weather.
was very nice,
it was
very
beautiful.
weather here.
And people were sitting on the grass talking. They were ordering funnel cakes like they had never seen funnel cakes before. And I finally said, I really want to go home. So I called Taft PD and they said, we'll talk to them. So it was wonderful. But that tells you what a nice evening it was.
That's what I heard. Congratulations, and thanks to everybody for their efforts. Heaven knows Taft is definitely the place to be for the 4th of July. Okay, no more citizens' request public comments, so we'll move into item number 6, council statements, non-action. Councilman Evelyn, we'll begin with you, sir.
I want to comment on the events of the 2nd. I was kind of surprised because I assumed that someone had called in the good weather to you, which is why we had such good weather that
My suggestion, Kathy is the one who made it happen.
The fireworks show was spectacular. We stayed, I don't know how long we were there. I saw Councilman Bryant there. They did get me this year though, because of the length of the pause between, I guess it's over, and the crescendo. So they lengthened that out. And I literally started, telling the wife to get up, and then this beautiful crescendo came up with all the fireworks, and people stood up, and you could hear a roar across the entire Rails to Trails. People were just losing it. So, my thanks. That was a beautiful night. We had a great time. The weather was perfect, and hopefully everybody had a wonderful 4th of July. My 4th of July obviously started on the 2nd, but it continued. And that's all I've got, Mr. Mayor.
Very good, very good. Councilman Bryant.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It's hard to say any more than ditto to that, but you guys did wonderful. And if the mayor is deferring his prerogative to take credit for the weather, Kathy, thank you. Can we dial that up, please, for the next, 3 months? Property taxes and property values may rise as a result, but I'll gladly pay to have that kind of weather. I only have one thing tonight, Mr. Mayor. I just wanted to send out a shout out to a local young man who's saw his dream kind of be realized tonight. And the Clark family is a longtime stalwart of the West Side. Logan Clark has been a young man I've been able to watch play baseball since he was about 6 years old. This afternoon, he was drafted in the 16th round by the Cleveland Guardians. I've never seen a young man put in that kind of work. In terms of, he's at the baseball fields taking batting practice, just working on his craft. Logan will be the one to tell you he's not the most gifted athlete, but he's gifted here, and he puts it to work, and he's going to get to realize his dream. So on behalf of everybody that sits on this dais, everybody in the city of Taft and on the West Side, Logan, congratulations, my friend. I'm proud of you. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank
All
you.
right, very good. Thank you very much, sir. Councilman Whiting.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Speaking about the July 2nd celebration, I brought my fiancee out for the first time ever. Now, she is not a big fireworks fan because at her home, she has a couple of dogs that just go bat crazy. But since this was not on the 4th, it was on the 2nd, I brought her out, and she was truly amazed at the outcome. The amount of people that were there, the vendors, the fireworks display, including you call it the crescendo, or we call it something else, the
Finale?
Grand finale, call it.
grand finale, yeah. And we bought a few things on the trail from some of the people there, and had an outstanding time, and she wants to come back. So she's very excited about that, so.
Good.
The other thing I want to talk about is a shout out to the police department. I watch the news, and I talk to the people at the office, and I want to tell you that they are doing a great job right now. And I know it's tough on them because they're having to AOD a lot, or assist another department, for those that don't know what that is. But they managed to catch an attempted homicide suspect, got a pound of meth and a bunch of guns off the street, which anybody knows anything about narcotics knows if you take a pound of meth away, you've taken away a lot of misery for a long time. That's a large quantity. And I know that there's a particular person who likes to prey on children who's looking at 25 to life is his potential exposure should that case go to its full exposure because of the very dedicated efforts of one officer at the police station. And he pulled out all the stops to do the investigation, did a really great job. But I'll tell you, it's a team effort, and the team is working very well right now. They're out there busting it, they're catching bad guys, they're making your streets safe. And I can tell you right now, it's still true today as it was even back when I was the chief. This is still one of the safest cities you'll find anywhere in this county, bar none. So big shout out to the police department, credit to the chief for his leadership, and I just want to say thank you very much to them. And that's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right, thank you. And we cannot voice that appreciation enough. So given any opportunity, thank you for bringing that up very much. Mayor Pro Tem Cryer.
Thank you, Mayor. It's really, great, we had that 4th of July, I was out there, and it was very, very good. A lot of people there, a lot of vendors, and then like I say, it was over with, went home, got an encore. There's a lot more out there going on out there, so it kept the thing going on for a good part of the evening.
Those are independent contractors?
I believe so. But they were pretty good, but loud, because some are darn close to the house. And my poor doggy, he didn't want to leave the house. I couldn't even drag him out. He's too big for me to carry, so I gave up and let him stay there for the evening. But it does affect the animals and stuff and everything, and I don't know what we can do about it, but the second show wasn't too bad. There's a lot of new businesses here in town opening up, a lot. A lot of new restaurants and stuff. Some are going, some are coming in, taking their spots, and plus there's some new ones that open up new venues in addition to it. And a couple of new shops. I understand there'll be one opening up here, I believe the 1st of next month. I'm not sure when it is, but I guess it'll be a pawn shop coming up. That'd probably be a good venue for that. But there's a lot of people who has interest, and when you have more businesses and more restaurants, it begots more businesses and more restaurants. And it all keeps the people here trying new things, not venturing out too far and spend their money outside our city. But it's good for Taft because we get more people attracted to Taft to come and see what we have and enjoy the restaurants that we do have. And hopefully we're taking all the different businesses that we have and maybe get a few move into our town, hopefully. Because we do have a great, safe city here. Because I do travel a lot. I know the mayor travels an awful lot. And our city is the safest city, I say, in California, not just in Kern County. Because we're very, very, have a very proactive police department. They don't sit around their butts eating donuts. They're out there finding people out there doing things to prevent crime. They're very proactive, and they initiate the crime out there. They're not initiate crime, but they find the people who commit the crime and make the difference in catching them. Another thing concerned being in the agricultural part of it and everything, everybody's talking about the hot weather, lack of water, high food prices, all kinds of different scenarios and stuff. In my opinion, and talking with other people that with like-mindedness in the agricultural, a lot of it is government created. They're forcing something down here, part of they want the high cost of food. They want the people to depend upon government to get the food, if not, i.e. food lines, or depend upon government to deliver food to them. But you're going to see a lot of costs going up. Not just in California. California's the worst part of it, but even in other states, fertilizer and stuff. If you don't add fertilizer, to your crops and stuff, you lose about 30% of your crop. Don't grow. So if you get 100 bushels of wheat, you only get about maybe 70% of it. Fertilizer is very, very important. And California used to produce a tremendous amount. Our country produced a tremendous amount of fertilizer. Now it doesn't do that much like it used to have. So you're going to see a lot of different things, fuel costs, transportation. It not only affects us driving personally, but it affects, the tractors, the water pumps, the wells. It goes to post-harvest, goes to trucking the stuff to the packing sheds, running the packing sheds, then there to the market. It all adds up, and it's not the farmer's fault, it's not anybody's fault, but I put the blame, a lot of it, on the government and stuff. There are meters on our pumps and things, where we can only do so many acre feet per year. That's it. And so you have to find, you see a lot of fallow ground, so you have from fields, say you have a 100-acre field, but you can only use 60% of that field for water. So the other 40% stays vacant. There's costs here. We're paying the taxes on it, and then it drives up food costs. But I'd let you know, forewarn, that you haven't seen anything yet, and take your family now. Put things away. Just plan for possible worse things to come. That's all I have to say, Mayor.
All right, thank you very much, sir. It's hot. That's been brought up several times. So it's summertime, kids are out there running amok, and if your kids or your grandkids are like mine, they want to get up, they want to get out. Keep them hydrated. If you have stay-at-home people within your neighborhood, elderly people, people that are challenged mobily, keep an eye on them, check on them. These are the times when things can go terribly wrong unnecessarily. So be your brother's keeper, if you will. Lend a hand. Keep your eyes open. Keep everybody hydrated, because it's going to be hot for a bit. All right, we're going to go right into the consent calendar, items 12 through 20. Am I missing something? Oh, yeah, all those other people that want to comment. That was only 4 items. I was reading the consent calendar. I thought this is going to take some time, but okay. I'm sorry about that, because I know we have a couple things. So, item number 7, Planning Commission report. We have a planning commissioner here.
Got let go early.
No, please come on up here.
School's out.
Educate us.
Well, we had 2 items, actual public hearings at our last meeting. The Joyce Brothers with their property up on Main Street, the Mercantile, I never remember the name. Yeah, submitted plans for building out the lower section for a restaurant. They received their approval, 5-0. And then you will also be receiving amendments to the building code dealing with streamlining permitting for electrical vehicle charging stations. Not that we actually, as far as I can tell, needed to be told what to do it. I think our people were already in a position to have done that well, but the state has decided that we need to have a lot more paperwork to prove that we're streamlining that process. So that'll be coming to you within the next couple of meetings. That's it.
That's a good deal. There's got to be at least 1 electric vehicle in this city. So let's fast track that $1 billion, huh? Okay, thank you very much. Item number 8, department reports. Okay, we have a couple department reports this evening. Please, sir, step up. You're first.
I appreciate it that Councilman Whiting brought that to everyone's attention, because in my job, I believe that it's just not my place to toot the horn. I love to come up here and tell you about our on-sites and how we on-site more than we have Oster-initiated calls, and I appreciate it. I ditto with the, your brother's keeper and your sister's keeper. Make sure that everybody's safe, because it is super hot. And I speak from experience, because I was out on one of those searches, and it was extremely hot, and I didn't like it. And it was in dark colored uniform. We were out there working. But we have a great relationship with the SO. They were out there, they had our backs. We worked hard. I'm just letting you know that in these scorching heat, you'll see my officers are still out there doing their job. And I mean, and I'm proud of them. And we have the new ones that have come in, new officers that are just now getting released on FTO, and some of the ones that have been recently released, and they're working hard. And I'm super proud, and I'm very happy to be the chief here. I appreciate it.
Thank you very much, sir. Appreciate what you do.
Chief?
All right, we have another department report. Madam Clerk.
Yes, Honorable Mayor and council members, just wanted to put out there that it is election season, and we have 3 expiring council seats, and nomination period is happening right now, it started on the 18th, and it goes through August 12th, with an extension to the 17th if an incumbent does not pull papers to run. So anybody who is interested in running for a seat on the city council, now is the time. Call my office, we'll get you an appointment, we'll get you in and get you set up to pull papers.
All right, thank you very much, appreciate it. It's a bit of a process, so the earlier they get with you, the better.
Yes.
All right, thank you, Madam Clerk. Any other department reports this evening? Seeing none, all right, we'll move on to the city manager's statement. City Manager Jones.
No statements.
No statement, thank you, sir. City attorney is with us via the web. I'm guessing he doesn't have any statements. Does anybody know anything to the contrary? No, okay then.
I am here, Mr. Mayor. Can you hear me?
Oh, there
I
he is.
heard him,
Hear the
huh?
voice.
Thank you very much. My only statement tonight, Mr. Mayor and council, would be I'd like to thank Chief McMinn, if he's still there, for his kind words during the invocation. Other than that, I have no other statement this evening. Thank you.
All right, well, thank you very much. Good to hear from you. All right, item number 11, future agenda requests. Gentlemen, any future agenda requests this evening?
Nothing here.
None? All right then, now we will move into the consent calendar, items 12 through 20. All items listed on the consent calendar shall be considered routine and will be enacted by one roll call vote. There will be no separate discussion of these items unless a member of the city council requests specific items to be removed from the consent calendar for separate action. Any item removed from the consent calendar will be considered after the regular business items. Are there any items on the consent calendar that any member of the public would like to comment on? Madam Clerk, did you receive any inquiries?
I did not.
Thank you, ma'am. All right then, those items are item number 12, June 21st, 2022, regularly scheduled meeting. The recommendation is to approve the minutes. Item number 13 is the payment of bills, which is close to $700,000. Item number 14 is the treasurer's report. Recommendation is a motion to receive and file the treasurer's report for the months of April and May of 2022. Item 15 is a resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft authorizing bank card services. The recommendation is a motion to adopt a resolution entitled, "A Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft Authorizing Bank Card Services." Item 16 is the second reading and adoption of ordinance adding Chapter 13 to Title 8 of the Taft City Code adopting military equipment use policy pursuant to Assembly Bill 481. The recommendation is a motion to approve and amend the City of Taft Municipal Code entitled, "An Ordinance of the City Council of the City of Taft, California, adding Chapter 13 to Title 8 of the Taft City Code relating to the adoption of a military equipment use policy in accordance with Assembly Bill 481. Item 17, professional services agreement with Riker Designs for design of detailed plans and specs for the police department building renovations. Recommendation is a motion to approve an agreement with Riker Designs in an amount not to exceed $24,500 to prepare the detailed plans and specs required to bid out police department building renovations and authorize the mayor to execute said agreement. Item 18, designation of conflict of interest statement filers and assignment of disclosure categories pursuant to the Political Reform Act of 1974. The recommendation is a motion to accept the 2022 local agency biennial notice and adopt a resolution entitled, A resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft designating positions required to file conflict of interest statements pursuant to the Political Reform Act of 1974, assigning disclosure categories and repealing and replacing resolution number 4035-20. Item 19 is the annual audited financial statements for fiscal year 2018-2019. Recommendation is a motion to receive and file the audited annual, my goodness, comprehensive financial reports for year end June 30th, 2019. And then lastly, item 20, accept the work performed by Marco A. Gonzalez Engineering Incorporated, DBA MAG Engineering, Inc., and approve the filing of notice of completion for the demolition of structure at 520 North Street. Recommendation is a motion to accept the completed work by Marco A. Gonzalez Engineering, Inc., DBA as MAG Engineering, Inc., for the demolition of building at 520 North Street and authorize the city clerk to file the notice of completion with the Kern County Recorder. Are there any items that any member of the council wish to remove from the consent calendar?
I would like, Mr. Mayor, I'd like to remove number 19, please.
Number 19. Any others, gentlemen?
15.
15. All right. At this time, I would entertain a motion to approve consent calendar items 12, 13, 14, 16, 17, 18, and 20.
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. May we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Crier,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant,
Yes.
Councilmember Evelyn,
With the exception of number 12, as I was not here for that meeting, I don't believe. Barring that, yes.
Councilmember Whiting,
Yes.
and Mayor Nor.
Yes, thank you very much. All right, next up, item number 15, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft authorizing bank card services. City Manager Jones.
Sorry, Mayor, I think we're on 19.
I'm sorry?
Is it 19?
It's
15 for Orchard.
15 was pulled from the.
I'm sorry, my fault, I didn't hear Orchard pulled.
No worries, no worries.
It's very simple. Take that second.
On September 18, 2018, City Council adopted Resolution 3919-18, authorizing 23 credit cards to be issued. Since then, changes have occurred in positions and positions' responsibility requiring this resolution to be updated to reflect those changes and reducing the number of cards to 20. In adopting the proposed resolution, it will repeal Resolution 3919-18. Note, Councilmember Dave Norris requested not to have card issued in his name.
Okay, Councilman Crier, you asked that this be removed from the consent calendar, sir.
Yes, I did. I too like to decline my credit card on there. I don't think I would need one. Looks like Dave Noor, he declined his. I'll
Okay,
declare mine.
you would notify finance, so I'll send a note over to them that you've done that.
Okay, thank
Okay.
you.
All right, so at this time, I would entertain a motion to adopt a resolution entitled Resolution of the City Council of the City of Taft authorizing bank card services.
I just want to make a reminder, those that decline, any training that you request to go to, or that's the cards you use for that. So that would mean you're declining any training or anything, conferences or anything like that.
But we can use our own credit card, is that correct?
If you want to not be reimbursed, because it's, the reason why we issue credit cards, it's too hard for the paperwork to reimburse. So our policies are, you're issued a credit card for training, conferences and such, so just wanted to explain.
So another question I would have then, when we have our League of Cities and stuff, I've known in the past, I've used my personal credit card and got reimbursed versus using a city credit card.
That's what we're trying to get away from, because
You don't want
it's
us,
too difficult.
It's
too difficult?
Record keeping is too difficult, so.
Well, then, I mean, I need
Policy
to,
is training shall be used by city credit card. So I just wanted to point that out, because if you.
I didn't
if we shred
realize
your
that.
credit card, it's just, and you go to training, it's gonna cause issues.
Bottom line is, I made the decision that if I'm going to do those things, I pay for it with my own money.
yeah.
That's simple. That's my decision. If, however, anybody is going to go to these things and as you would expect, it's going to be paid for by the city because it's in services to the city. But the policy, in order for it to be streamlined and efficient, is to use the credit card issued in your name specifically for those purposes. So instead of using your own, Mayor Pro Tem, you would simply ask to be given the card for that event, use the card for that event, and then turn it back in.
Or simply not use it all if you don't ever use it.
I can't guarantee that I won't be attending, I think, a city event in the future. So your recommendation would be if I was planning on attending, that I would need a city credit card?
My recommendation would be that you talk with finance and have them figure out with you what's best for you. Because they would be the ones, they handle the credit cards, this is their item, and they would be
A
the ones
lot
to.
less
Yeah,
work than reimbursement than using credit cards that are issued, because that was the purpose they're issued. But it can be discussed with Teresa at a later date.
Thank you.
All right, so at this time, I would entertain a motion to adopt a resolution entitled Resolution of City Council of City of Taft Authorizing Bank Card Services.
So moved?
Second.
A motion and a second. Any further discussion,
I just
gentlemen?
have one point of clarification. So it appears we're changing the resolution to update either personnel who've changed places. Is it a requirement of the card program that we identify those? Or can we identify a certain person as being the administrator, such as the city manager or the finance director? So we wouldn't have to come back anytime we happen to have changes in
Refers back to
staffing?
our credit card policy,
Oh, okay.
which I don't have.
yes.
That works. Thank you. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right. Any additional discussion, gentlemen? All right, I have a motion. I have a second. May I have a roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Crier,
Yes?
Councilmember Bryant.
Yes.
Councilmember Evelyn.
Yes.
Councilmember Whiting.
Yes.
And Mayor Noor.
Yes, now pass on 5-0 vote. Thank you very much. Next up, item number 19, annual audited financial statements for fiscal year 2018-2019. City Manager Jung.
Thank you, Mayor. Attached is the annual audited reports for the years ending June 30th, 2019, which includes the annual comprehensive financial report, wastewater treatment plant financial statements. Since the city did not expend more than $750,000 in federal monies, we were not required to prepare a single audit.
All right, thank you very much, sir. The recommendation is, I would entertain a motion to receive and file the annual audited comprehensive financial reports for the year ended June 30th, 2019.
So moved?
Second.
I have a motion and a second. Councilman Bryant, you asked that this be removed.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I just had a question. That these financial statements are 3 years in arrears. It's very odd that that's the case. Do we expect that to continue, or is this just kind of catching us up for a single year?
We currently have a plan to get caught up.
Okay.
September, October, the auditors will be back finishing up 19, 20, 21, or 2021.
Okay. That's all I have, Mr. Mayor. Thank you.
All right,
We do
thank you.
currently have a plan to get caught up.
All right. Any additional questions regarding this matter, gentlemen? None? We have a motion and a second. Madam Clerk, may we have a roll call, please?
Mayor Pro Tem Crier,
Yes.
Councilmember Bryant.
Yes.
Councilmember Evelyn.
Yes.
Councilmember Whiting.
Yes.
And Mayor Noor.
Yes, and that passes on a 5-0 vote. Thank you very much. All right, that brings our open session portion of this meeting to a close. This council will be going into closed session for the following items. Item A is the annual performance evaluation, Government Code Section 54957, position to be evaluated city manager. Item B, conference with legal counsel, existing litigation, Government Code Section 54956.9A, case number BCB-20-1000096. Thank you all for being a part of this meeting. We are adjourned into closed session.